Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at someone absolutely central if you want to understand, well, millennia of Chinese governance. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor.
Right, we're going beyond just the famous terracotta army, though that's part of his story, of course.
Definitely. Our mission here is to sort of unpack his whole journey,
hmm
from being a young hostage prince to this absolute ruler.
And look at the core reasons for his success, the pillars he built his power on.
Exactly. And maybe see what lessons, if any, his pretty radical life holds for how we think about systems and leadership even today. So, kicking things off, his early life, it reads like pure political drama, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Born Prince Deng, 259 BCE, but crucially born while his father was a Qin hostage over in the rival state of Zhao. So a pawn right from the start.
And there's that story, maybe apocryphal but famous, about the merchant Lü Buwei seeing his father, Prince Yiren, as a rare commodity, basically spotting political potential and investing.
Investing heavily. Orchestrating their return and rise, it really highlights the instability of the era. And that instability didn't just vanish when he became king of Qin. He was only 13 back in 247 BCE.
Right, 13. So power wasn't truly his yet.
Not at all. He immediately faced these huge internal threats. You had Lü Buwei, honored as second father, holding immense power. And this other figure, Lao Ai, things got complicated there.
Complicated is one word for it, involved with the queen mother, wasn't he?
Yes, very. It became a major court crisis. But the key thing, the turning point, is that by the time Zhang was 22, he dealt with them ruthlessly.
How ruthlessly?
We're talking executions, Lao Ai and his sons with the queen mother. Lü Buwei was eventually removed, forced suicide later. Zheng secured total, undisputed personal authority. That was the foundation.
Okay, so he's got the power base nailed down, then comes the big project, unification.
The defining achievement, yeah. The military conquest of the remaining 6 states, wrapped up by 221 BCE. But it wasn't just about winning battles.
No, it was a revolution in how you even thought about political power, right?
Yeah.
How did he make that stick with people used to, well, feudal lords for centuries?
That's the crucial part. He needed a new symbol, a new vocabulary for power. So he created the title Huangdi Emperor.
Combining ancient, almost mythological titles.
Exactly, to signal something totally unprecedented, and then declaring himself Shi Huangdi, the first emperor, the ambition there. He wanted his line to last 10,000 generations.
Wow. So the title sets the stage. What about the actual machinery of government?
That's where the real systemic change happened. He completely scrapped the old feudal system, gone, replaced it with commandery and county system, Junxian Zhi.
Meaning central government appointed local officials.
Yeah.
No more hereditary lords running their own patches.
Precisely. That model, centrally appointed bureaucracy, set the template for, well, basically the next 2,000 years of imperial Chinese administration. It's huge.
And alongside governing structures, he forced uniformity everywhere else too, right? The famous standardizations.
Yes, the 3 unifications. Standardizing weights and measures, obvious benefit for trade and taxes. Standardizing the writing system to the small seal script, crucial for communication across the empire.
And standardizing card axles. That one always sounds a bit strange. Why axles?
Think logistics. Military logistics, primarily. If all your supply carts, your troop transport carts, fit the same ruts in the roads across the entire empire.
Everything moves faster, more efficiently. No need to transfer goods or adapt equipment at old state borders.
Exactly. It wasn't some minor detail. It was about making unification operational, making the empire function as one unit.
Okay, let's talk strategy. How did Qin actually achieve this military dominance? Seems like there was some serious long-term planning involved. And maybe some irony.
A great deal of both. Think about the Zhengguo Canal, this massive irrigation project in Jin territory.
Right, but wasn't that initially a plot against Qin by the state of Han?
It was. Han sent an engineer supposedly to help Qin, but the real goal was to bankrupt Qin with this massive, expensive canal project, drain their resources, and stop their expansion. Sabotage, basically.
So how did that work out for Han?
Terribly. The sabotage backfired spectacularly. Qin completed the canal, and it turned the Guanzhong region into this incredibly fertile breadbasket.
Providing the food and manpower needed for conquest.
Exactly. It secured their agricultural base, funded the armies. They literally turned an enemy weapon into their engine for final victory. The irony is just palpable. And underpinning all this military and infrastructural focus was an ideology, legalism, particularly the ideas of Han Fei.
Legalism sounds strict.
It was, extremely. You could almost call it an operating system for maximizing state power. It prioritized laws, state control, and military merit above all else.
And it wasn't keen on, say, scholars or merchants.
Not at all. Han Fei talked about the 5 vermin groups like scholars, merchants, artisans, people who pursued their own interests rather than strengthening the state through farming or fighting. Legalism saw them as weakening the state's focus.
Which brings us to the darker side, the infamous burning of books and burying of scholars. Was that a direct result of this legalist thinking?
It certainly connects. The legalist view was that appealing to tradition, to ancient texts, to different schools of thought, it just fostered dissent. It undermined the absolute authority of the state's law and the emperor's will.
So to achieve total unity, even thought had to be controlled. Destroy competing ideas.
That was the logic, however brutal. Centralize everything. Power, administration, logistics, currency, writing, and thought itself.
So bringing this all together, what's the takeaway for us looking back? He builds this incredible, lasting political framework for China.
My framework that profoundly shaped East Asian history for 2 millennia.
But the immediate cost was immense, wasn't it? The sheer human toll of projects like the Great Wall, his own mausoleum.
Massive forced labor, heavy taxes, incredible suffering. It generated so much resentment, so much internal pressure.
But the Qin dynasty itself collapsed just 3 years after his death in 210 BCE.
Right. It's the ultimate paradox, isn't it? The man who architects this system meant to last 10,000 generations, the first emperor. His own dynasty barely outlives him. It lasts just over a decade in total.
So the final thought.
I think it shows that even the most ruthlessly efficient, top-down, centralized system, if it completely breaks that basic social contract, if it ignores the well-being and consent of the people it governs, it can't sustain itself. Power, even absolute power, has its limits. That's maybe the enduring lesson from the first emperor.